These are some pre-ride checks you need to do on your e-mountain bike to make sure you don't get out there and get stranded.
Yeah, because it's quite likely your e-bike's going to get way more wear than your normal bike.
Number one, and probably the most simple check, is to make sure you've charged the battery, because if you show up for the ride, it's obviously going to be too late. A battery will take a couple of hours to get full charge into it. So try and get into a routine. What I do is after my previous ride, I wash the bike, dry the chain, clean the chain, and then put the bike on charge. The batteries will come off all bikes, and some bikes like this Specialized. It's a really simple process just to take the battery off, and I'll take that in the house to charge it. That also protects that battery from any cold weather in the garage that will eventually degrade that battery.
Because of the added weight of an e-bike, many parts are particularly prone to increased wear. Wheels are one, so keep an eye on those spoke tensions. Now, not all bikes come with e-bike specific wheels as we have on our bikes here. So keep an eye on any damage that might be happening to the rims because of the pounding you're going to be giving the bike. Tyres are really critical. No tread, no grip, which means you're not going to be conquering those hill climbs. Keep an eye on your tyre pressures, guys. Obviously it depends on where you live and what type of ride in. So on wet, sticky conditions in northern climates, go for lower pressures, and if you're in somewhere harder with loads of rocks, you know, you can get up into the 20s.
Now this is a new one to me. This is contact cleaner. So if any of your battery terminals or connections get wet with condensation or mud or dirt, then this will get on there and get rid of that straight away. Now these bikes are pretty watertight, so only really should happen maybe if you're leaving a battery lying around and it gets wet. This will do the trick.
The speed sensor on an eMTB is a fundamental part of how the bikes work. E-bike motors regulate the power based on the information from the speed sensor. Therefore, if there's a problem with the sensor, your bike's going nowhere fast.
No connection between the sensor and the motor, and there's going to be no power. Make sure your sensors are well secured and they're not moving around at all.
Make sure your chain is clean and then lube it, because you're likely to get a lot of wear and tear on your drivetrain because of all the power that's going through it. So once I've hosed the chain off, the next thing I'll do with a normal bike is pedal backwards and use a rag down here to dry the chain off. However, with an e-bike, you've got a freewheel up front as well, so that's not going to work. So what I do is I get a rag and I'll just take my time to do the bottom part of the chain, and then I'll spin it around, making sure that my power's not on, so there's no chance of it actually spinning really fast. And then I'll do it again, and I'll do that probably 4 or 5 times and make sure that chain is nice and dry before I do exactly the same thing with my lube. So dropping it in from the top, one section, spin it round to there, do it again. Now we have seen a few people send in their solutions to this problem on the EMBN show using things like chocks or bike stands. It's definitely a great solution, but if you don't carry those with you, then this is probably the best method to use. So a pre-ride bolt check is something I'll do to all of my bikes, but especially on an e-bike where you've got that extra weight, things can get rattled loose. So full suspension bike, I'd always check the linkage bolts, the shock bolts, check your headset, that can come loose. But the two really important ones are the rear axle and the rear mech. They can commonly rattle loose, and if they come out, that'll cause a lot of damage. Make sure that you turn your power on when you're stationary, because if you're pedaling, the bike won't actually work.
Turbo mode, obviously, right?
And you're ready to roll. If you want to see some more videos, click over there. For some eMBN videos, give us a thumbs up and
Subscribe!